In this video, we're going to be going over the technique for any vertical pulling exercises, and that includes anything that's about a 45-degree angle above horizontal here and above. Any exercise that involve that type of angle will kind of use this similar technique. So we're going to kind of just lump them all together, and I'm going to show you a few different variations. Biggest thing we're looking for is mostly to make sure we're getting full shoulder blade movement as we do these exercises. A lot of times people will want to lock their shoulder blades down and back as they do these types of things, but that takes away a big chunk of your shoulder motion. When our shoulders are moving, we want motion to be happening from our rib cage, from our shoulder blade and collarbone, from our shoulder, from our elbow. Like, we want all of these things playing a role so that the load is spread out nicely between a lot of different structures and not overloading one specific area. So, first thing is whenever you're holding onto something to do a vertical pull, I want to make sure you have a full grip on the bar, on the implement, or on the weight. And that means this meaty part of your palm here will be wrapping around, and the flats of your knuckles here will be facing away from you the whole time. Making sure you're getting a full grip with your thumb wrapped around. Same thing, a lot of times people do this weird suicide grip, but I want to make sure you have full hand contact there, fully wrapped around, and that's to make sure your pinky is also over top of the bar. Same thing, I see a lot of people kind of drift onto their fingers like this, and that starts to get very grippy with the forearms and the elbows, and you start to get a little bit of weird stuff happening with the shoulders. So make sure you get a full hand contact, including the pinky. Flats here, all of your knuckles should be facing away from you, and then you're gonna be pulling through the pinky side of your hand to pull down. That will just make sure that you get a nice shoulder motion and it's actually happening how we want. Just to give you an example, I'm just going to use this band. So same thing, like I said, get a nice full grip, my knuckles facing away from me. As I do the pull down here, the starting point here is my arm is straight. I'm going to let the band pull my shoulder open. I'm even letting that kind of open up I'm kind of like letting my arm turn in a little bit to get full shoulder blade motion. I am not fully letting it shrug me to lose my neck. But I am going to let the shoulder blade get pulled a little bit, kind of feel like my upper back opens up. From that position right there, without losing that feeling of reaching there, I'm going to try to open up my chest as much as I can without arching my back. So this would be too much, and that you can notice how that changes the angle of my arm. My arm is up here, reaching here. I want to keep this angle here and try to open up my chest as much as I can. And I'm just going to maintain that sensation there, like a nice open chest, as I pull through my pinky down to my side. The biggest things I'm paying attention to here are driving elbow towards the ground, elbow towards my side. You'll notice that from my elbow to where the band is attached at is one continuous line. I'm not trying to pull my hand to anything and getting that angle to be different. I'm focusing on elbow down, pulling through my pinky. Keeping a nice big chest. Same rules as with the horizontal row. As soon as I feel like my collarbone and my shoulder no longer are moving down and back, but are instead moving up and forward, that is the end of the motion. So you can stop at that point. So if you're pulling here, and at this point when your shoulder wants to come forward, that's just where you can stop. Big chest, pull an elbow straight down to your side. Wouldn't change it all if I was doing double arm. Same thing. I'd let the band pull my arms nice and long without losing my neck. I'll keep a nice long neck, let my shoulder blades get pulled around me so my upper back feels nice and big. Lift up my chest, or open up my chest as much as I can without arching at my back. Then I'm just going to try to maintain that position as I drive my elbows towards my sides, pulling through the pinky side of my arms. Nice big chest. I'm not arching throughout my back as I do this. I'm trying to maintain a little bit of abs on, trying to maintain that position so it's just my shoulder blades and my rib cage moving, and my shoulders, not my spine moving a ton. Okay? So as we move up into something like an assisted pull-up here, so we're going to do a foot assisted pull-up. This is one of my favorite pull-up variations for people that don't quite have full pull-ups. Because it lets you use your legs as much as you need to get the help you need to finish the reps and make them very good. But it's not so much assistance, it's not changing assistance. It's like a band assisted pull-up. It's helping you the most at the bottom and the least at the top. So sometimes you get better at one part of it than another. It doesn't happen as much with this. The idea is you just need a bar set up on a rig or in a Smith machine, set up so that when you're standing tall, you can be above it. And same thing, I'm gonna get full grip on the bar so my knuckles are over top, making sure your pinky is over top, and wrap your thumb around. I'm going to hang directly below my arms. And same rules, I'm trying to avoid my back wanting to arch like crazy. I want to let my shoulders open up a little bit, let my shoulders get pulled without losing my neck. I'm going to take a nice big chest here without arching my back if I can help it. And I'm just going to drive through the pinky side of my hand and pull my elbows towards the sides of my hips. Same thing, you'll notice that my forearm stays pretty vertical there. What I don't want to see as you're going through that is I don't want to see your elbow starting to do this and flare way out to the side. It's a common compensation you'll see with people doing pull-ups is their back will arch and their elbows will swing out like this and start to get behind you. That takes away from your ability to actually use your lats effectively, which is the biggest muscle we're using during this type of motion. It actually starts to use just your smaller shoulder blade muscles. And again, it kind of starts to crank on your shoulders and do a little bit different stuff, so not the goal. I want to make sure we're pulling down to our sides, and we can just play with what things we're targeting based on the hand position and how wide we are. If we're a little bit wider, with a wider grip, it doesn't change how I'm pulling, but I'm going to get a little more lats like that. If we're switching to like more narrow grip, doesn't change anything. I'm going to pull closer to my side, we're not going to get quite as high. If we're doing a chin-up, same thing. Doesn't change anything, full grip over the bar, knuckles over the top, let it open me up. And then from here, I'm going to be thinking drive through the pinky side of my hand, elbows to my sides. Same thing. Forearm dictates where that force is going. I'm going to be driving that elbow straight down so my forearm stays pretty vertical overall. I don't want that elbow kicking out to the side and starting to crank on my shoulders. Same idea if we're doing a full pull-up. Hanging, knuckles over top of the bar. Then as I do the pull-up, stop swinging for a second. As I do the pull-up, I'm trying to drive my elbows down to the sides of my hips, drive my elbows through the floor, and get my elbows to come right to my sides. I'm trying to avoid my elbows wanting to flare way out to the side. So that is a vertical pull. Anything hand above shoulder height and above, pulling down to me. These are the main mechanics. Full grip, full hand pressure, pull through the pinky, driving my elbow to the floor, one continuous line from elbow to whatever that thing is connected to. We're trying to make sure we're keeping a nice big chest as we do it. We're not arching at our back as we go through that. Collarbone tells you all. Collarbone starts to move forward or up. That is the end of the motion. You don't have to go past that point.